AI censoring people. AI censorship targets people who read primary sources to fact check the news. Artificial intelligence censorship tools are making sure you never read this article or share it with anyone it might persuade. It's using AI to automatically prevent American citizens from seeing information online that challenges government and corporate media claims about elections ahead of the 2024 voting season. Platforms and search engines, including Microsoft Bing, use NewsGuard's ratings to stop people from seeing disfavored information sources, information, and topics in their social media feeds and online searches. New censorship is being deployed not only by humans, but also by automated computer code, rapidly raising an iron curtain around internet speech. NewsGuard rates The Federalist, which is this website, as a maximum risk for publishing Democrat-disapproved information, even though The Federalist accurately reports major stories about which NewsGuard-approved outlets continually spread disinformation and misinformation on. Those have already included the Russia collusion hoax, the Brett Kavanaugh R-word hoax, numerous COVID-19 narratives, and authenticity of Hunter Biden's laptop, and the deadly 2020 George Floyd riots. The point is, we already know this. We've talked about this recently. Search engines, they don't give you anything anymore. It's honestly the most frustrating thing that I experience on like a regular basis when I engage with technology is that it wasn't that long ago when you could search Google for something and it was almost entirely contingent upon how you expressed what you wanted. And how you expressed what you wanted would directly cause you to get what you got. So you'd have to be careful about how you worded it. And then that's how SEO worked. Anybody who's like built websites or done advertising or anything like that, where you've used SEO, search engine optimization, with your website or with your business, you know that like there was a specific way of doing it so that people can find your stuff. When I had theologyforums.com, we did SEO. And so it all would work perfectly and it was beautiful. And when people would search theology questions, we a lot of the time would be at the top of Google. Well, that's not how it works anymore. Now it's totally narrative driven. It's narrative and wildly subjective to what are the approved upon websites, what are the approved upon topics. And even if you type something super specific, like again, use Tim Pool as an example, something Tim Pool will be 3 pages down, if at all. And it'll feed you all sorts of garbage about how Tim Pool's not trustworthy and he's a racist and January 6th and all this wild stuff that aligns with the government and media narratives. And it doesn't answer your question at all. And even if you search something more innocent, I notice like when I'm doing research for things, I still get fed this just biased garbage that because I'm not dumb or dull, I'm like, oh yeah, I mean, you're only giving me the narrative. Like I'm trying to find outside of the narrative, even in an innocent way. I'm trying to find something outside of the narrative. It's super hard to find. And it's so frustrating. It's so freaking frustrating, but it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. Google says it's politically neutral, but it's not. It got out the vote for Clinton, donated 90% to Democrats, and fired an engineer for criticizing DEI. And now we've discovered that its CEO promised to use AI to counter fake news, racism, and populism in response to Trump. So Google CEO pledged to use an AI model to counter fake news, racism, and populism after Trump victory. This is assuming Trump wins. And last time, right? And this goes back to this AI censorship, targeting people who read primary news sources. So what happened prior in past election and what will absolutely happen again and is already happening as we speak is what I was just talking. You're not going to be able to find the things you want to find. You're gonna I can't remember what it was, but it was something like in a neutral political search, you will be fed something to the effect, it was like 70 or 75% Democratic sources versus the remainder being Republican. And it doesn't seem way, I don't know, it does though. 70, 75%. If you are what Go said, a normie, If you're a normie political person, you're not like watching stuff like this, and you're not listening to Timcast, or you're not plugged into the media, and you type a political question that's neutral, it's not party specific. If Google then feeds you 70% Democratic sources, and you're again a quote unquote normie, you're just going to click it, and then that's the truth to you. That's reality, because you're not going to go somewhere else and like fact check it. And even if you then fact check it as a normie, what are all the fact checking websites? They lean Democratic. It didn't used to be like that. It used to be fair. You'd type a neutral question, you'd see opposing answers to it. It's not the world we live in anymore. And it's a world that should really scare the shit out of you. To at least some degree, it should really scare the shit out of you. That even if you aren't a normie and you know exactly what you're trying to find, that it's impossible to find it. It's buried. It's buried under pages and pages of garbage that you don't want to read and that you know are not true, or that you know is not true.